All right, strap yourselves in because we are going deep, deep into Black Doves.
I'm ready.
This time, episode 3,
Okay.
we are really going to unpack like all the twists, all the turns, betrayals, they get deeper,
Yeah.
personal lives just totally fall apart. And Helen, I mean, she is in a spot where she can't trust anyone.
I know, right? Like this episode just starts and we're already like reeling from what happened at the end of the last one.
Totally.
But like there's no time to recover
No.
really, because we're immediately plunged into this conspiracy that's like even more tangled and more confusing.
Oh, yeah, it is a total roller coaster. Helen's like piecing together, okay, how did her informant die? What happened? And then all of a sudden, she's getting these clues that point not just at, the corporation, but maybe even people closer to her.
And that's what the writers did so well in this episode, right?
Yeah.
They create this world where like every glance, every word, you just don't
Very
really...
suspicious of everyone.
You're suspicious of everyone, yeah. Trying to figure out, okay, is this person good? Is this person bad? Can Helen trust them? And it just creates this feeling of unease. It's so, so good.
Oh my gosh, like I can feel the tension coming right off the screen, like when she's talking to her handler.
Yes.
Like it's a quiet scene, there's no like crazy action or anything, but the way they film it, like those close-ups on their faces and the pauses in their dialogue, it makes you lean in, like what's going to happen?
It really shows you like how powerful just the visuals can be, right? Like you don't always need explosions and car chases to get that tension.
No.
Sometimes just a conversation can be even more intense if you do it right.
Exactly. And it goes back to that feeling of unease. And as if things weren't bad enough at work, right?
Right.
Helen's personal life, it just explodes.
Yeah.
Sophie, her daughter, is not putting up with her mom's weird behavior anymore.
Oh, no.
And she starts asking questions, and these questions lead to, like, the biggest fight ever. It's, like, just as crazy as anything that's happening in the spy world.
And that's what I love about this show,
Yeah.
It's not just spies being spies. It shows how being a spy affects your life, your family, your relationships.
Right.
And it makes Helen like a real person, even though
Yeah.
she's doing all this crazy stuff.
I was so tense watching that scene with her and Sophie. You could just, like, feel those years of resentment, like, boiling over. It makes you wonder, can Helen ever really have both? Like, a normal life and this spy life?
And then on top of all of this, she finds this lead that could like expose the whole conspiracy, a whistleblower.
Okay.
But this person is not like the whistleblowers you see in movies.
Right.
They're not trying to do the right thing. They're terrified.
Yeah.
They just want to protect themselves, which makes them super unpredictable.
Right, because they could be the key to everything.
Right.
Right. But they're so scared.
Right.
That fear could make them do something that, like, ruins Helen's whole plan.
Exactly. And it makes you think, like, should Helen use this person's fear to get what she needs?
Right. It's complicated.
Is that even okay? Or is she becoming like the bad guy she's trying to stop?
That's a good question. I was asking myself that the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, we get the scene where Helen's trying to get information from the whistleblower, right? But at the same time, she's dodging the corporation's people who are after them.
Oh, I know. It's so intense.
And that's where you see Helen is amazing, right? Like, she's not just strong, she's smart. She figures out how to use, like, psychology to convince the whistleblower. She thinks on her feet, she's lucky. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's filmed so well, you really feel like you're right there with her.
Oh, totally. And you think she's safe, but then she makes this decision to follow this important guy.
Yes.
Which leads her to this secret meeting. And what she sees there blows everything wide open. This corporation is connected to, like, the highest levels of government.
This is huge. It means the conspiracy is way bigger than she thought. But it also means she's in way more danger now.
Yeah, she's not just fighting a company anymore.
No.
She's fighting, like, the system itself.
Yeah.
It's like every step she takes forward, the more dangerous it gets.
Right.
But then, just when you think she's totally stuck, this new character shows up. Some tech person who just changes everything.
I love how they introduce this character. It's
Yeah.
like a jolt of energy. You have Helen, she's been through so much.
Yeah.
And now she has to team up with this, like, tech whiz who sees the world totally differently. It's such a great contrast.
And it's funny, too. You have Helen, who's all, like, dry and sarcastic, and then this new person who's so optimistic and, like, talking about tech stuff I don't even understand.
It's a good reminder that even when things are super serious, you can still find humor.
Totally.
And it shows how Helen can, like, adapt to any situation, work with anyone, even if they're like the opposite of her.
And this new person, they get things done. They get Helen information and stuff she could never have gotten
Oh,
herself.
for sure.
But it makes you wonder, can she really trust them?
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Just when you think you know who's on what side, something happens that makes you question everything.
And the whole time, the antagonist, the bad guy,
Yeah.
they're getting closer. This episode really gives us a glimpse of who they are, what they want.
What's interesting is they're not just like an evil villain. You start to see their backstory, like why they're doing this, what happened to them.
There's this one scene where Helen finds something that shows just how much power they have. It's scary.
Yeah.
You realize they've been manipulating things for years. Like, they've infiltrated everything. It's like they know how people work and they use it against them.
And that's what makes this show so good.
Yeah.
It's not just about spies. It's about how power can corrupt anyone, even people who start with good intentions.
It reminds me of that whistleblower.
Oh, right.
This person knows what's going on, but they're too afraid to do anything.
It makes you think about how those in power use fear to keep people quiet.
Exactly. It's happening in the real world too, right? People who speak up get punished.
It shows that real courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about doing what's right, even when you're terrified.
And it makes Helen's job even harder. How do you convince someone who's that scared to trust you?
It's a tough situation.
And you can see Helen struggling with it. She wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But she knows if she pushes too hard, she could lose the whistleblower completely.
And we can't forget about what's going on with Helen's daughter.
Oh, right, Sophie.
That fight they have, it just breaks your heart. You see all the pain that Helen's job has caused.
It makes you realize that even someone like Helen, who's so tough, is still a mom. She loves her daughter.
It shows that even the good guys have to make sacrifices.
And sometimes those sacrifices hurt the people they love the most.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, can Helen ever really fix things with Sophie?
It's a big question. Like, can you be a good spy and a good mom at the same time?
It's something she's going to have to figure out.
It's crazy how this show, like, messes with you. You think you know what's going on, and bam, everything changes.
I know. The writers are so good at keeping you guessing. This episode especially is full of surprises.
Like when Helen finds out about the antagonist and those government people, it's not just some random twist.
Yeah.
It shows you how much power they have, how they can, like, control things from behind the scenes.
It's kind of scary how realistic it is, right?
Oh, totally. Like, it makes you think about how corporations and the government can get too close, you know?
And regular people get caught in the middle. That's what makes this show so different. It's not just action and spies. It makes you think about real stuff.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what would you do in that situation? What lines would you cross?
And that's what good storytelling does, right?
Yeah.
It makes you question things. It doesn't give you easy answers.
And speaking of questions, we got to talk about Helen and her daughter.
Oh, yes, Sophie.
That fight they have, it's like all the years of lies and secrets just come pouring out.
I was amazed by the actors in that scene.
Yeah.
You can really feel the pain, but also, like, the love they still have for each other.
It's heartbreaking.
It shows how even someone like Helen, who can handle anything, is still human. Yeah.
Right. She's still a mom. And all the choices she's made as a spy, they've hurt her daughter.
And it raises this big question. Can she be a good spy and a good mom?
Can she have both?
It's a tough one.
Oh.
And this episode doesn't really give us an answer. It just makes it even more complicated.
Yeah, and then it ends on this crazy cliffhanger. You're left wondering what's going to happen to Helen.
Will she expose the truth? What about her daughter?
Can she even trust this new person who's helping her? So many questions.
It makes you want to watch the next episode right away.
Totally. This deep dive has been amazing, but we've only scratched the surface of what this episode is about. You got to see it for yourself, you know. And then let us know what you think. What's going to happen next? Who's going to betray who? We're dying to hear your theories. Until then, remember, in Black Doves, you can never be too sure about anything.